Fear Street, you say? You know what that means. I thought that would be cooler. Like there'd be like a sound effect. You know what? Let's do it again. Fear Street, you say? You know what that means. That was cool. What is up, Netflix fans? Welcome back to my channel. Part 1 of the Fear Street trilogy is finally on Netflix. We're going to talk about it today. No spoilers. And as always, we're talking the new movie or show on Netflix. More to come this weekend. Let's start with this one. So in 1994, a group of teenagers discovers that the terrifying events which have haunted their town for generations are all connected, and they may be the next targets. First things first, I have to start with the cast, because what is a good horror slasher without a compelling and competent cast? From Maya Hawke to Benjamin Flores Jr. to Olivia Welch, everyone in this movie plays their part and plays it well. Now, inevitably, some are going to watch this and say, well, these characters are just as cliche as they come, right? Each of them, they'll do the dumb horror thing that dumb characters do in dumb horrors on occasion, but there's also this underlying factor when you look at a film like this, is the movie aware that the characters are following this formula? I think of Happy Death Day. That's the perfect example of a film that is so aware of the tone that it's going for. And another one, and the obvious one, the one that all critics you watch are going to say the same thing, it feels like Scream. It's the new version of Scream. Why are they saying that? Well, they're saying it because that's exactly what it feels like. It is almost like the modern version of what Scream was for the time. Now, in my opinion, this isn't quite on that level. Scream was really one of a kind. Because this movie does take a bit of a different angle, especially once we get into that third act, and there is a lot going on here. It is not all that it seems, and because we're not spoiling things, I don't want to go deeper than that, but this may even be a movie or a series worth talking spoilers for, just because the twists and the turns that it takes. Now, Netflix granted me a screener. They asked me not to spell spoilers, so we're not going to do that in this video, but just know that even the first half of the film, it goes that Scream route. And then the second half, you realize, oh, things are getting even more intense than I anticipated. And just so you know, this movie is not afraid to catch you off guard. This movie is not afraid to make decisions that will have you sit back and go, I didn't see that coming. I didn't see that character going through what they just went through, and I had no clue that Fear Street would be a really solid horror film. Now, my only concern with this franchise is the fact that I don't know if 2 and 3 can be as fun as number 1, because number 1, it had like everything going for it. And if you know what this trilogy is, then you know what the years are, and you know that 1994 is the newest year in the trilogy, and the subsequent movies are going to go back in time and tell this story even further and explore the lore that we kind of hit on in this film, because as they're starting to discover what is happening to their town, they're telling these tales, something that they don't necessarily believe in at first, of things that had happened in the past, and what the movies after this are going to be are those events. So inevitably there, you kind of know what happens. With this film, I had no clue where it was going. I had no clue the fate that our characters were going to meet, and to see a really fun slasher movie in action with a character that is just so simple. I mean, you've got the Halloween costume. That's basically what it is. But it's so effective, a la Michael Myers, or another Scream comparison. There we go. You put the mask on, you're automatically terrified, even though in this film, you know the face behind the mask. So that, for me, is what Fear Street is. That's what it was able to do as a viewer. And as someone who enjoys slasher movies, but I'm not like over the moon about the genre, like I'll talk about it when I find a good movie, I thoroughly enjoyed this film, and I thought it was a really good start for what this trilogy could be on Netflix. If you're a fan of the genre, like a fan that gets really hyped up for movies like this, oh my God, you're going to have a great time. Just know that there will be the occasional quirk to one of these characters, or they'll start exploring like a relationship. And I actually thought the chemistry between all of them were really good. So that part didn't bother me. It was more so just, you know, you're going to add this in, you're almost taking away from what could be action. We could be getting more bloody, crazy horror goodness, and there's a lot of that. There's also a little bit of sexual stuff. There's also a little bit of cursing. It's got everything that fans of the genre like this want it to have. Now, does it go that extra mile, putting it up top as one of the all-time horror slasher greats? Not necessarily, in my opinion, only because the story is a bit too convoluted in the third act, and I wasn't as gripped by the characters as maybe the writing wanted me to be, even though I really loved their personalities. The banter, again, so much fun. Possibly my favorite character, played by Benjamin Flores Jr. Josh, his character, just his sense of humor and the awkwardness that just exudes from him around women. I won't lie, I watched this trailer and I said, this is going to be but after the movie, I'm like really hyped for number 2, and they've already sent me number 2, so I'm probably gonna go watch it right after this review, and I'm really excited about it. But I just want you guys to know that this is definitely a horror movie worth watching. Come back, let me know what you thought, and before I give you guys my score, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to support this channel, be sure to drop your thumbs up. This first film delivers on everything slasher fans could have hoped for, and the story is full of surprises. It's not without its faults, but I had a really good time with this movie. I'm going to 73% for part 1 of Fear Street. It's a good film. It's worth a watch, and I am hyped to hear what you guys think about part 1 of this 3-part trilogy. Excited to continue to cover this. Let me know down below your thoughts, and of course, come back. We got a lot of reviews. I gotta go watch The Purge. We're gonna review The Purge this weekend, I promise. And again, new studio, just in case you missed it yesterday. Thank you guys for your support. Let's change it back to blue. There we go. Perfect. All right. I'll see you.